Hello, Power fans, it's Mathonical, and you're joining me for round 2 with some Rally Gond action, including the Faithless Looting edition. Our opening hand is a pretty good one, so we're going to go ahead and keep that. Starting on the Wind-Scarred Crag, of course. Island into Cataxian Probe. That represents two different decks. That kind of start is seen in either Is It Blitz or Inside Out combo. So at this point, we really don't know what sort of deck we're playing against, and we're just going to go ahead and play our hand like normal. We did have the option of either putting out the Soul Attendant or Faithless Looting, but in either case, I would prefer to have the extra life gain. Life is relevant against both of the combo decks that we mentioned. Continuing to just sculpt their hand. So here we're gonna float the one. We're gonna float the white using the green to cycle an Ash Barrens. For the mountain, play the mountain. We're gonna use that Faithless Looting, hoping to get rid of some of these lands and possibly find something relevant. We can always discard the Prismatic Strands just so we have that without needing to hold up mana, but it really depends on what we draw. So let's see, two more lands. Yeah, looks like we're going to be ditching two lands. At this point, it doesn't really matter what we're going to throw away. We're going to keep the Ash Barrens just because we can cycle to thin our deck a little bit more. And we can always keep the Survivors Encampment because that can turn into any color. So Wind-Scarred Crag seems like something we may want to keep for gaining some additional life, which means we can discard two basics. And that is indeed what we do. Cycle the last Ash Barrens, just to thin the deck, and swing in for the 1 damage. On our turn, depending on what our opponent does, we're going to have a few different options. Our opponent does indeed show that they have a Plains plus an Inside Out, so at this point we do know what kind of deck they're on, and we're going to be playing around Tribe as much as possible. And since we're nowhere playing against Tribe, it's really important that we get a clock down ASAP, just to really start making them have the combo. They need to try and win as soon as possible. With the life gain on the table, we're just going to go ahead and cast the Battle Screech here, making sure to gain 4 life and starting to put a clock on our opponent. And with that out of the way, we're going to swing back to our opponent's turn. This will make it a bit more difficult for our opponent to win, since they will now have to discard additional cards to actually kill us in one shot, and they have to do it through 2 Prismatic Strands. So here, since we drew more lands, we're going to go ahead and cast the Faithless Looting Flashback, and we're going to be able to discard 2 lands and play a Soul Warden, so that seems reasonable. Here, I'm going to discard any 2 tapped lands. We want to have 6 mana next turn to be able to hold up both Prismatic Strands. That should be enough to get through anything the Tribe player is trying to do. So we're just going to go ahead and discard both of those, play our land, and play the Soul Warden, swinging in for a bunch of damage. If we didn't have that Faithless Looting, we would not have been able to get through this massive chunk of lands. There's been like, what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11? Oh boy. Alright, so our opponent hasn't played Tribe yet, so we're going to be able to play our Soul Sister. The moment they do play Tribe, though, we do want to hold up both of our Prismatic Strands for as long as we can. And our opponent is on a 3-turn clock, so since they're using a Shadow Rift and a Gush here, I'm assuming they also realize that they need to go for this as soon as possible. So they are digging as much as they can, and they do end up finding the Tribe. So here we just have to make sure that we have 6 mana open next turn to use our Prismatic Strands as needed. And our opponent shows that they have some various cards in hand. Discard an island and Inside Out, so I'm assuming they have to have another one. Do not be tempted to play this Bodyguard. That would tap us below 6 mana, which we need for these Prismatic Strands. Our opponent is continuing to sculpt their perfect 7. So can these 8 cards beat us? They go for the Inside Out, they go for the Shadow Rift, and they have 2 counters available. If they have some Dazes as well, I suppose they can get us here. But we're just going to wait until the last moment, since they have to discard a ton of cards to be able to beat us here. They go ahead and already discarded Daze before even using the Gush. That surprises me a little bit. And here they're starting to have to discard their counter spells. So once they finally, at the last one that was going to kill us, we're going to cast the Prismatic Strands, and they only have 1 card in hand. So they're going to try and counter it, and we're going to let that happen. We're going to flash back the Prismatic Strands, name white, and that is game. I'm a little surprised that our opponent played it the way they did, since they knew we had at least 1 Prismatic Strands from that first Cataxian Probe, but given the contents of their hand and how much life we had, I don't think they had any alternative other than hoping we didn't flash it back. So, we managed to win game 1. Going into game number 2, we've got a lot of things we can sideboard here. The Electrickeries kill the tribe when they're going for the combo. We've got the Pyroblast to help interrupt it and to stop counter spells. We've got 4 removal spells with the Journeys and O-Rings, and 2 Standard Bearers. So since we're breaking in 12 cards, we have a lot of things that we're going to need to take out. We're going to take out our entire winning through damage plan of the Battle Screeches and the Rally the Peasants. We're going to take out one of each of the Soul Sisters and a Cenn's Enlistment, so we're really cutting down our curve quite a bit to be able to interact fast. And we're also going to bring out 1 Presence of God, 1 Commune with the Gods, and 1 Plains. Just kind of like a little trim on the side, just to bring in enough cards to win this way. The main plan here, we want to make them go for the combo. We want them to not be able to pull the combo off. And then win somehow landing our own combo. Also just being able to kind of like lock them down with a bunch of our cards. It's a pretty good strategy as well. Our opening hand is a good one. We have a interaction with their cards. We've got some digging in our hand. The only thing that this could lose to is if they have turn 1 Plains into Tireless Tribe, turn 2 kill. That would suck for us, but there isn't much we can do about that. That's not a reason to send this one back. Island, very good. So we're going to play a Blossoming Sands here. We do have to be careful. If they go Tribe with the Daze backup, we can still lose to that, but another island looks good for us. We're going to go ahead and cast a Commune with the Gods, hoping mainly to find some Prismatic Strands into the bin, but we did find a Standard Bearer, so getting that into hand is very nice for us. Of course, our opponent knows about it, so we want to try and play around them knowing about it. Augur of Bolas, showing us a Brainstorm and another island, so things are looking pretty good for us, allowing us to really set up our defenses. We're going to go ahead and use the Evolving Wilds to get a mountain. That'll give us Faithless Looting going forward, and we're just going to go ahead and cast our Bodyguard here. The reason being, we just cast the Standard Bearer here, they could have either a Piracy Charm or a Gut Shot, and that would be really bad for us, so since we have the opportunity, we're just going to play around that. This will allow us also to cycle our Ash Barrens to get another white source, so we can double Journey next turn if we need to, or Journey plus Standard Bearer. Here comes the Plains and the Tribe, so this would really suck for us if our opponent is able to counter both Journeys, but then they would be pretty low on cards and may not be able to win. So let's just hope things work out in our favor. Get our white source, and well, here we go. With the Prismatic Strands, that is also fairly tempting to hold up, but the Journey ends up sticking, so we're just going to throw down this Standard Bearer, and I don't really know how our opponent can get through this. Of course, there is always a way, and I'm sure some people in the comments may let us know, but probably some combination of getting rid of our Standard Bearer somehow, plus a Tyler's Tribe getting through. I'm not really sure. So rather than thinking of how our opponent's going to win through this one, I'm just going to continue to increase our chances of locking this up. When I cast the Faithless Looting, I'm going to make sure to discard the Prismatic Strands so we don't have to hold up mana for that anymore. So this way they have to get through Standard Bearer, plus a Benevolent Bodyguard, plus the Prismatic Strands in the graveyard. We also have a Pyroblast that we're going to be able to hold up going forward. So things are looking pretty good here. Good enough that I'm going to go ahead and cast the Midnight Guard. Got to make sure we're getting down our pressure from time to time, and we'll start swinging in for a little bit of damage. And our opponent ends up conceding to that. I suppose that, given the contents of their hand, they didn't really see a line for winning that was reasonable, which does make sense. So we managed to win round number 2, currently 2-0, and I will see you guys in round 3.